Hi everyone, I'm Larissa Russell of Creative You, and I'm your host of the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Here's where we talk about the connection between creativity and healing by interviewing amazing creatives, spectacular healers, and inspiring people who have used creativity in their healing. What does it mean to be creative? What is creativity? You don't have to write a best-selling book or paint a masterpiece or even play in a rock band. Creativity is in everything that we do, in the ways we think, in the way we run a business. In our everyday lives, we are creative all the time. Let's talk about how we are creative and how creativity helps us heal mentally, physically, and emotionally, right now on the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Larissa Russell of Creative You, and welcome to the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Today, I have with me Christa Forrest. Christa was one of our presenters for the Loving, Healing, Creating Summit that we ran in February, and we absolutely loved having her. You can still get access to that summit at www.creativeyou.ca. Christa truly loves sharing her passion. She is a soulful artist creating inspiration and motivation to help others see and live their passion. After spending 20 years in a career in finance that was anxiety-driven, stressful, and starving her true soul, she decided to leave that safe and secure corporate cubicle life to pursue her passion for art and teaching. In the past 4 years, she has led a happier, more fulfilled life and wants to share her journey with all of you. Christa feels art and creativity play an important role in allowing our souls to let go and let in our true selves. We do not have to spend our lives searching for what it is. We can experience it and live it. Christa's journey will always be a work in progress, but she wants to give back and allow her journey to bless you and help you find and follow your own journey. She says, let's grow together. So welcome, Christa.
Thank you. Thank you.
I so appreciate you today. For our listeners, Christa and I just recorded our podcast and realized that the recorder was off. My bad. So I've done that to myself numerous times, not to anyone else. So we're doing this again. So for the bigger and better version.
Yeah.
Christa, can you share some of your story and your path?
Sure. So, well, you said most of it. I've been creating pretty much all my life, and then ended up having children, and all that creative stuff had to go to the sidelines, so that I could, be a mom and raise kids and do all that stuff. I ended up in a career in finance that lasted 20 years. And then towards the end, there was a point where I just wasn't happy. It really wasn't what I wanted to do. I wasn't happy going to work every day. I wasn't feeling happy about, um, my disposition, and just kind of, feeling a lot of anxiety about it. And I took an art class. And it was pastels. I took an art class, pastels, and it was kind of like an aha moment for me. And I realized that this is what I should have been doing all along, and I realized this is what I want to be doing going forward. So the process of me, leaving my career, I planned a little bit. I saved some money, and I finally quit my job and left the cubicle behind and decided to follow a path in creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I am now.
That's excellent. Yes. And what does healing with creativity mean to you?
Well, I call, my journey Creative Souls Art, because I feel creativity comes from within, comes from your soul. And I think, really releasing what's inside through creativity helps with healing, and it helps with communicating those things that we struggle to communicate with verbally. So keeping a journal, keeping a sketchbook, creating in there every day. And if you feel you need to share it, you can. It's open to share. Or you can just kind of leave it to yourself. But I find that creating in itself is healing. in all aspects, in any sickness or wherever, mental, physical, whatever. I think creating is very extremely important in the healing process of any human being, moving forward now. Um, and I find it it's something I have to do. It's something I need to do on a regular basis. So when I'm not doing it, I'm cranky, and I'm not a happy person. And I find as soon as I open my sketchbook, it's like my medicine. It's like my nourishment that helps me get through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And do you think there's a driving force that inspires you?
Um, Driving force that inspires me. I think it's just me. It's my need to share my creative process with others. It's really important for me to do that. And I feel blessed that I'm able to, quit my career and do what I do. A lot of people are scared to do it. But I think it's really important for me to share my process and share my ups and downs and in my struggles through my creative journey. It's something I have to do, and I enjoy it as well. But I think people are hungry to see other creatives create. That's why we're here today. Really, I think people want to see it. They want to experience, and it's so much easier now through social media and all that to do that. But I think it's really important to share, and it's important for me to share. And it's been kind of like that driving force for me to continue on. Even through hard times, just kind of, sharing, my failure, and getting people to respond is extremely important for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How has a past pain informed your life purpose?
A past pain, I think it's the determination not to go back to where I was,
Mm-hmm.
not to go back to the 9 to 5 cubicle job, and to continue to create, and continue on my creative journey. I think it's really important. It's been my hustle. It's something that I don't want to go back to. You know, this has made me a happier person. I'm following my passion. I'm experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
For me to have to go back to working in an office or a cubicle is, almost complete devastation for me.
Yeah.
I need to feel free, and I teach and I do whatever I have to do to make this journey happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've hustled and I've done everything I can. Um, and I enjoy it. My stress is my stress. It's my, I'm controlling it. And I think that's really important for me. Because it's not somebody else's stress that I'm going to every day. It's my own, and I can, orchestrate it the way I want to. And that's really important to me. I can't imagine moving backwards at this point. Um, and I'll do whatever it takes to move forward.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Because once you're out, you just don't want to go back.
No, and I mean, I know that
Mhm.
as I move forward, in this creative process, it's becoming more administrative. It's becoming, I almost have to hire people to help me with some things. So it is becoming more business like, um, but it's mine. I own it, and, you know, I am a procrastinator, and I just don't get things done when I want to, but it's my procrastination. I own everything that I do when I wake up in the morning till I go to bed at night. And I enjoy that freedom. And it's I think a lot of people, and I run into a lot of people that, you know, hear my story and, God, I wish I could do that. I'm like, well, you can.
Mhm.
um, you can do that. It's possible. You just have to be, prepared for, some of the stress that's involved with it. But it's, in the end, it's all you, and I don't know, it's just such a great feeling to be able to create this on my own.
It really is, isn't it? And and other people, because I was one of those other people. Oh, I could never do that. I could never, you
Yeah.
know. And and then something just switches, and you have that need, and you have to do it, and nothing is going to get in your way. And until you change your mindset, I think
Yes.
it it's not going to happen because you don't believe it can happen.
Yes,
So
you're
once you
absolutely right.
believe it can happen, and then you have that driving force of not wanting to go back to the cubicle, you know, you can make it happen. Yes.
And you'd be surprised. So
Mhm.
I went from making a lot of money to a little bit of money, like
Mhm.
very little money. Um, and when we got our tax returns back, I was shocked. We only made that much this year. How did we live? But
Yeah.
we didn't think about it. I don't sit and think about how much money I have in my bank account, or how I'm going to pay this bill, or how I'm going to do this. I'm
Mhm.
just kind of moving forward and doing all the things that I've worked hard at, and continuing that hustle. And everything seems, because I think maybe because I've made the decision and I owned it, that things just kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
And when you're ready to own that decision, it will fall into place.
Yeah.
When you're not ready, it won't. But when you've changed that narrative in your mind, things just tend to happen, um, in your favor. And I don't know, for some reason, it just happens. And you don't, it's when you force it, or you um, apply negativity to that decision, is when it's, when you struggle. But when you
Mhm.
don't think about it, you know, our life here hasn't changed that much, really, even though our salaries have changed significantly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, what is your favorite creative healing modality that you use for yourself?
Teaching is something that I enjoy. It's something I need to do. It's something I enjoy sharing. Working in my sketchbook, creating every day is very important to me. I have to do something creative every day, even when I'm busy with administrative stuff. Um, but I think it's important for me to uh, teach and share others. I think that's just such, right now and going forward in 2020. I'm going to do a lot more of it, because it's something I need. I need to share, and I don't know if it's just an inner soul thing for me. It's something I just need to. I need to give back, I guess, to get more out of my creative process. And the feedback that I get, or the thank yous, or the feeling, or when people come back and say, "Wow, you've changed my life." That's really important. It's touching, and it really helps me move forward in my creative journey as well. So that's my driving force. That's, if I can help one person, it's all worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment to date?
Quitting my job and
Yeah. And taking.
leaving that job and being able to, paint every day. That is a huge accomplishment, um, I think. And being able to follow my passion. That is really, I can't imagine anything else right now.
Mhm.
Um, and having the support of my family and my husband, which is, I couldn't have done it without that support either. But yeah, that's like the biggest decision I've ever made, really.
Yeah. So it's a big one.
It
It's an important one.
is.
If you could change one aspect of our society through your work, what would it be?
Um, change one aspect of, well, I create every day to just inject just a bit of happiness in the world. And, the world just is, to me, isn't very happy right now. Um, I think we're filled with anxiety and stress and, anger and a lot of hate. And if I could just add just one tiny piece of happiness there, and share it with others, and maybe somebody else will share their happiness, and we just continuously pay it forward, maybe we can change the narrative, or change the atmosphere of what's going on right now in the world. um, and I feel like if I just create art, I'm just kind of, I'm planting that one seed that, could grow and spread out to others. And, I think it's really important, because it's sad outside. It really is. And, only through my art can I really kind of create that happiness. And I hope I can inspire others to do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so important because we do right now, we see so much of that negativity in the world. Um, Basically, our media just, loves to spew that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not there because it's definitely there, but there's a lot of good in the world that is not being brought to the top, right? And so I think the more that we do this, we're growing this sort of underground world and bringing it forward more. And if everybody spreads a little happiness, it's going to change the world.
Yes, I hope so.
So too. That's my belief, and I need to believe.
I
So, what inspirational advice would you give someone who's struggling?
to keep putting the work in, to keep practicing. Your first piece isn't going to be perfect, and your second piece isn't going to be perfect, and nothing. You'll never reach perfection, but to keep practicing. I think you have to do something 100 times to master it. So if you keep working at it and putting the work in, um, you can just make sure my cat is right there. If you keep putting the work in, you'll see the benefits. You will reap the benefits of it. It's very important, and I get a lot of people like, well, why doesn't mine look like you? Or why can't I achieve what you just achieved? Well, I've been doing it for the past 7 years. I do it every day. I've been practicing. There are several failed canvases that are sitting in my closet. There's crumpled pieces of paper of failures, and there's a lot of art supplies that I've used up because it just didn't work. So I only really post, you only really see the finished product, but you don't see the closet filled with all the failures either, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So probably for every good painting, there's probably 20 of them behind there that
Yeah.
didn't make it.
It's so true.
So I think you have to just continuously put in the work.
Yeah. Practice, practice, practice. People say that, but then they believe somehow that you're just born with this ability. And, some people absolutely are. I don't know how it magically comes to them, but for the most of us, it takes work. And, I'm an abstract artist, but I've been trying faces. It's been my thing this year.
Mhm.
And I'm still horrible, but I'm way better than I was months
Yes.
ago. And so it's like, because I just keep going. And occasionally I even have one that I'll show people. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not too bad, you know. And as I keep going, years from now, I'll probably be like, oh, you shouldn't have shown that to anybody. But
I
I'm just so proud that it looks like a person. So yeah. Practice is absolutely, and it's true. Those overnight sensations are usually 20 years in the making. So,
Yes, yes, definitely.
so what inspiration, or do you have, I guess, an inspirational quote that sums up your life journey?
I don't have a particular quote, but there are sayings that I like to repeat to myself. So one of them is trust the process. Like we were talking to before, is, there is no perfection, and you're not going to always get it right the first time, and you just have to keep working at it. And if you just trust your creative process, it will get there. You'll get there. It may not be in, overnight, and it may not be, could take 10 years to get there. But just kind of accept where you are right now, and you'll get there. And then my husband is a big motivational, he's always, spewing some motivational comment to me every morning. And one thing that he's always, even when, I tend to kind of look too forward sometimes, and I tend to look in the past a lot. And he's like, well, be where your feet are. He's always telling me that. And he's, always trying to stress for me to be present, to be where I am right now, instead of worrying about what I need to be doing, tomorrow, or what I did yesterday. Focus on where you are right now and accept it. So those are two things that kind of keep me going during my creative journey and process. And they've been really helpful to keep away from that perfection, and, kind of that worry of, getting stuff done, or the worry of what I need to be doing a month from now. It's not really important right now. What's important is where you are right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we maybe haven't discussed today that you'd like our listeners to know?
I don't know. I think we got it all covered.
And recorded this time.
I
know. So that's awesome. So thank you very much for being here. And thank you for our listeners for listening in, and we'll see you next week. And in the meantime, I wish for you an amazingly creative day.